Hey everyone, so today I am reviewing Strobes, strobe effect fountains. Now these are the ones I normally use. These are by Jorge Fireworks. It's a pack of 3 Strobes JS021. Each one lasts about 60 seconds. They're classed as fountains, but basically when you light them they kind of flash intermittently with very bright white light, and when you have a few of these lit together it's a really good effect. It works well at lighting up backgrounds and trees and things like that. So I use them quite a lot on my displays. They're by Jorge, a pack of 3. But the other ones that are available to consumers are by Celtic Fireworks, and they do both a white version and a red version. So the Jorge ones are only available in white. Celtics are available in red and white. And I've never actually used these before, so I'm kind of curious to see how these stack up against the Jorge ones. So they're all category 2, so they're all garden fireworks. The Jorge ones have 14 grams of powder, net explosive content in them, whereas these ones have 20 grams in each. They're actually slightly bigger as well, as you can see. But interestingly, these both burn for about 60 seconds, so it'd be interesting to test the durations on them as well and see how consistent they are, because these ones are more expensive per fountain than these, which is why I've tended to use these ones before, and these are really good. So I'm curious to see how they compare with these ones from Celtic. Right, let's get firing them. But before we do, a little warning that this video is going to contain rapidly flashing images. If you don't want to see that, stop watching now, and instead, why not check out one of the other videos on my channel? Okay, are you still with me? Great. First up, here's the Red Blinker from Celtic Fireworks. Next, the White Blinker from Celtic Fireworks. So what did I think of the Red Blinker and White Blinker strobe pots from Celtic Fireworks? The red lasted 1 minute and 5 seconds, the white lasted 52 seconds, so both reasonably close to the stated 1 minute duration. They were both really bright and had good strobe rates. They both produce quite a bit of smoke, but you do expect that from strobe pots, and actually it does add to the overall effect, as the smoke is then illuminated with each flash. Now, of course, ground strobes like this are not designed to be loud, and most of the time when you see them used in displays, they're either used alongside other fireworks or with music, and they'll probably be quite far away from the audience for them to be able to hear anything from them. But I found it quite interesting that the red and white blinkers actually produce slightly different sounds, with the red being around 3 decibels louder than the white. So now let's compare Celtic's White Blinker with Jorge's White Strobe Fountain. First, here's the footage of Jorge's strobe on its own, filmed using the exact same setup as the Celtic strobes. The Yorgi strobe lasted 1 minute and 10 seconds. But I think we should take a side-by-side comparison of Celtic and Yorgi strobes. On the left side of your screen is Celtic's white blinker, and on the right is Yorgi's white strobe. When viewed like this, you can see that Yorgi's strobe certainly had a slower strobe rate. Now, I don't see that as being a particularly bad thing. Typically when ground strobes are used in displays, several will be used spread out across a line, and so between them all you get a decent rate of flashes. You can also see more of a flame on the Yorgi strobe. In fact, the cardboard casing actually caught alight by the end. Like most fountains, strobe pots remain hot for some time afterwards, and when clearing these up, it was noticeable how much hotter the remains of the Yorgi strobe were than that of the Celtic strobes. The other aspect I was curious about was which of the two strobes produced a brighter flash. The best way to determine this is with a still frame from my wide shot camera of a flash from each at its maximum peak. So which of these two look brighter? The one on the top or the one on the bottom? Yeah, the one on the bottom. Now the one on the top is Celtic's, the one on the bottom is Yorgi's. So Yorgi's did appear brighter, but that said the Yorgi strobe did produce more smoke than the Celtic strobe. And so that smoke is being illuminated here as well, potentially adding to the strobe's perceived brightness. Okay, so let's look at the prices. A pack of 3 Yorgi white strobes costs around £6. That works out around £2 per strobe. Celtic's red and white blinkers, however, cost around £6 each, so approximately 3 times the cost of a Yorgi strobe. Now, Celtic blinkers do contain more powder, 20 grams of NEC versus 14 in the Yorgi strobes, and they do produce less smoke too. Celtic's blinkers also have a better build quality. I've had fuses fall out of Yorgi strobes before because they're not very well attached. So if I need a red strobe effect, the Celtic Red Blinker is the way to go, as there's really nothing else like it available to consumers. It would certainly be nice to see Celtic introduce additional coloured blinkers to their limited range, like green and blue, but perhaps strobe pots are quite a niche consumer firework, so maybe there just isn't the demand for more variety right now. As I mentioned in the intro, I use Yorgi strobes all the time in my displays. Now that I've been able to compare them with Celtic's white blinker side by side, will I switch to using Celtic's white blinkers? I'll be totally honest, probably not. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with Celtic's white blinkers, and I really do like them. But when I can get 6 Yorgi white strobes for the same price as just 2 Celtic blinkers, in a display 6 strobes are certainly going to look more impressive than 2. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more firework reviews.